Before I get into today's breakdown on Charlie Kirk's quote about black pilots, I need to address something even more urgent. Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old charged in the tragic unaliving of Charlie Kirk, was confirmed to have lived with a transgender roommate or partner. That's fact.
Yeah, he was walking with him.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah, they were. So they drove off in his car, the Dodge Challenger.
And so they look like they were a couple?
Yeah.
So they look like they were a couple?
Yeah.
Investigators say Robinson believed Kirk to spread hate. That's also fact. Now here's where the reasonable dots connect. If further investigation shows there was romantic involvement between Robinson and his trans roommate, then it becomes very clear why Robinson felt the need to end Charlie's life. That would mean this wasn't random, it was deeply personal, a crime of passion. Give me some of your passion, baby. And if that's the case, then the last 3 major tragic shootings in America would have been tied back to transgender or extreme leftist groups. Hopefully, confirming this will silence the NPCs celebrating this tragedy and force them to realize something crucial. If your opinions aren't rooted in fact, no matter how strongly you feel about them, they're worthless. So here's my fact-based opinion. Robinson was emotionally entangled with his trans roommate. He couldn't handle Charlie tearing apart his fragile little Barbie land with truth. So he wrote a bunch of inscriptions on bullets writing things like, "Oh Bella Ciao," "Hey fascist catch," and "If you're reading this, you're..." Well, from the looks of it, y'all, it was Tyler that was the ladyboy lover, and that's just my opinion. But unlike theirs, it's rooted in fact. So when all the trolls and NPCs in my live yesterday shouting the shooter was conservative, I don't think a conservative would live with the ladyboys.
The girls are sexy!
Sam, we're not ladies, we're lazy boys.
You're not a lady?
Yes,
What are you?
I'm Lady Boy.
No, the girls.
Sam, we're a lady boy.
The girls. Don't you?
A lady boy.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was wrong like me?
The girls are sexy!
May I say?
You're not a lady?
Yes,
What are you?
I'm Lady Boy. I'm Lady Boy. I'm Lady Boy.
Sam is not impressed.
So, trying to hold opinions that clearly aren't based in facts are, as I stated, worthless.
Here you are all equally worthless, and my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved corps. Do you maggots understand that? Sir, yes, sir! Bullshit, I can't hear you! Sir, yes, sir!
And speaking of people screaming hate and racism without facts, let's talk about Charlie Kirk's controversial quote about black pilots. He said, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." And yes, people freaked out. They called it racist, tone deaf, unfair. But here's the thing, the sentiment he's trying to convey has a kernel of truth that most people won't admit.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.
Hello world, the Faceless Prophet here, and if you're a fan of Charlie Kirk, please make sure to like, follow, and share because we're about to shut down some horrible arguments against NPCs trying to use this quote to call Kirk a racist. United Airlines set up its Aviate Academy, a flight school pipeline, and said 50% of students will be women or people of color. Their first class? Around 80%. Sounds like opportunity, right? At first glance, it looks like a step forward, but when you think about the actual applicant pool, the math tells a different story. Let's be real, most applicants are likely white males. Women have had complete freedom to choose careers since the civil rights era, and statistically, they consistently chose other professions, teaching, nursing, etc. And culturally, black Americans historically haven't gravitated toward aviation or flying.
And I knew right away they wasn't black people. Because we don't hike. Black people don't mess with death. Like, it's only white daredevils.
Didn't get me this time.
Black people, we do not with death. Because it's dangerous enough just being black.
so the natural applicant pool is heavily white male. Here's the part most people miss. Under the quota system, if a woman or a person of color only needs a passing grade to meet FAA minimums, they'll still be chosen over several white male applicants who outperform them. Imagine 300 white male applicants competing for 100 slots, but 50 are earmarked for a group of only 40 women and black men. Even if the top scoring white males clearly outperform the quota group, the quota locks in those spots for women and minorities first. The math is unavoidable. High-performing white males are sidelined. Passing is not the same as excelling. The quota rewards demographics over merit. A C can get in while an A is left out. That's reverse discrimination, plain and simple. Not to mention real-world data points show the complexities here. For example, the tragic accidents involving a female helicopter pilot and the plane crash that claimed 2 female pilots are highlighted in the media. If women represent a smaller proportion of pilots overall, you would expect fewer incidents involving female pilots. Yet these 2 events were highly publicized, which feeds into the narrative that DEI has to artificially engineer outcomes rather than letting natural distributions play out. Opponents say, this is outreach, opening doors, correcting historical imbalance, and yes, historically that was necessary, but here's the reality today. White males already make up 90% of pilots. They're not being excluded historically, they're being denied slots despite the majority of applicants and often the most qualified. That's exactly what happened with the Asian students at Harvard. High achievers denied admissions for a demographic target. Same math, same injustice. Some people also say, standards aren't lowered, everyone still passes FAA tests. Technically true, but the problem isn't about minimum standards. It's about ignoring excellence. Passing is not the same as excelling. Quotas prioritize demographics over merit. Excellence gets overlooked and opportunity is artificially redistributed. That's why this is reverse discrimination and why Charlie Kirk is trying to point out the logic behind fairness and reason. So here's the takeaway. Equal opportunity doesn't mean equal outcomes. Career choice matters. Women and minorities may naturally gravitate elsewhere, but when outcomes are artificially engineered to hit a quota, the formerly dominant group, in this case white males, is penalized despite being the most qualified. That's not equality, that's social engineering, and that's why Kirk's controversial quote, while shocking on the surface, actually touches on a very real issue. Merit should always come first. To show how absurd this philosophy becomes, let's apply the same logic to the NBA. Should we have racial quotas for who gets in? Clearly, it doesn't equally represent the population. Does that mean we need to start making quotas for more Asians and white people in the NBA now? Of course not, because we know the best possible players make the best possible league. The moment we start applying that pathological philosophy universally, one can begin to see just how quickly it falls apart. Though DEI is gift-wrapped in the guise of social justice, it's nothing more than a neurotic soccer mom trying to overcorrect for past mistakes with horrible solutions that only display ignorance cloaked as virtue.
Claire, I know you've got your methods, but so do I, and I'm sorry, but I'm not a micromanager. Trust me, I can provide Luke with the tools and guidance he needs without smothering him.
You think I smother our child?
It's not your fault, honey. Mother is part of the word. You never hear of anyone being fathered to death.
So much so that they don't even realize their virtue signaling is actually patronizing and frankly more racist to me as a Korean American than what Charlie Kirk said about black pilots. Clearly, Charlie wasn't implying black people aren't capable of being qualified pilots. But now that I've spelled out the logistics clearly, hopefully people can start to break their NPC programming and realize Charlie was pointing out something much more pathological and sinister. Well, I hope my breakdown brought more clarity to this controversy. And if you were edified by it, don't forget to like, follow, and share for more. But until next time, the Faceless Prophet out.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.